Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I'm Amy, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be setting up my April weekly pages and health tracker. I'll be using these washi tapes from the Spring Bunnies collection from Hubman and Chubgirl. I have these bunny-shaped date stickers from the Mid-Autumn Festival collection, also from Hubman and Chubgirl. I have the stickers from the Spring Bunnies collection. I have some coordinating watercolor pencils and markers, and I'll also be using some Spring Bunnies sticky notes. I like to have all 7 days of a week on the same spread, even if the week is divided between 2 different months. So I don't usually create full cover spreads. I create a mini cover page / mega header. The page on the left has the last 3 days of March any notes box. I did March in the Spring Cappies theme, and the page on the right will have the mini cover / mega header and the first 4 days of April. I'm using the Spring Green Derwent Inktense watercolor pencil, number 1550, to color in a grassy meadow. This is not watercolor paper, so I'm activating the pigment with a Tombow colorless blender marker N00 because the paper would buckle with too much water. Then I'm using the Iris Blue watercolor pencil number 900 to outline a few clouds and to color the sky around the clouds. I took inspiration from the washi tape and I'm just creating a larger version. I go over the sky with a layer of white watercolor pencil. When I was experimenting with these pencils, I felt the color came out a little smoother that way. And again, I activate the pigment with the colorless blender. For the 3 full weeks of April, the meadow and sky are confined to a strip along the top of each spread. And the last weekly spread will have the last 5 days of the month on the left-hand page, and eventually the first 2 days of May will go on the right. I'm going to set aside the notebook for a moment and pull out a cutting mat. This one has centimeters on one side and inches on the other. Today I'll be using the centimeter side. This pink washi tape is 1 centimeter wide, and I want to cut them into 1/2 centimeter widths. I line up a few strips with the centimeter lines and trim off the torn edges so I can see the 1/2 centimeter marks. Then I cut each strip in half lengthwise. Each of these strips will be 5 centimeters long. I also make a few that are 6 centimeters long. Those will be for the notes boxes. These sticky notes are great for making perfectly framed monthly headers. I drew some lines on a scrap of dot grid paper along with a center line to help me write straight on these sticky notes. I'm using the Deep Rose watercolor pencil number 710. I'm writing the headers in all lowercase print and adding some thicker flares on the end of each line. The big round sticky note will go on the mega header, and the smaller oval sticky notes are for the remaining weekly pages. I'm using double-sided glue tape around the perimeter of the sticky note and centering it over the meadow. The pink washi tape strips I cut earlier will act as dividers for each daily planning space. I'm leaving 2 dot grid spaces to the left of the strips for the date stickers, which go on next. On the remaining weekly spreads, the monthly header will be centered at the top of the left-hand page, and I'm placing the planning spaces on the far left and far right of the spread. The last space on the bottom right is for notes, and I used a 6 cm strip for that space since I don't need to leave space for a date sticker. I'm using a pink Zebra Deco Shine gel pen for the daily headers. I'm writing the first 3 letters of each day of the week below the date stickers. And now it's time to add the stickers. Each spread will get a little sun, various bunnies, and cherry blossoms. I also added a little strip of the whiter washi tape along the bottom of the full week spreads between the planning spaces. I did cut the tape along the seam to help it fold easier. The area in the middle will remain blank for now. That is my flex space. I usually use that space for journaling or memory keeping, or I could put habit trackers, to-do lists, or more decorations in that space, whatever I need that particular week. When I'm setting up my planner pages, I don't create monthly calendars because I don't use them. I set up all of the weekly spreads for the month at the same time and transfer directly from my future log to the weekly spreads. Now I'm going to flip to the front of the notebook where I have set aside pages for my monthly health trackers for the year. Each monthly health tracker is made up of 2 2-page spreads. I'm going to trim off the outer edge of the middle page to create a Dutch door, and I'm rounding the corners with a corner punch. I'm turning the notebook sideways to add the header along the right margin. I'm using the Deep Rose watercolor pencil in the same font I used for the weekly spreads. I don't decorate my health tracker spreads, but I do like them to coordinate with the weekly pages for the month. I'm also adding the first 3 letters of April on the April tab with the pink Deco Shine gel pen. On the left margin, I write the dates and first letter for each day. This is when I realized I started on the wrong day and everything I just wrote was wrong. I decided to use the scrap of paper I cut off the Dutch door to cover my mistake and start over. My cat Jack decided to come by and see what I was up to. The header and dates are visible from any part of the health tracker spread because of the Dutch door. I'm using the bullet end of a green mildliner to draw a vertical line between the dates and the space where I will enter my data during the month, and a horizontal line where the headers will go. I'm using the same green mildliner to separate each column. Each column is 2 spaces wide, except the last one, which is 3 spaces wide, where I write the temperature range each day. Then I create brackets for the headers for each column. The top of each bracket is 2 dots to the right of the base, and this is where I will write the things that I am tracking for the month. I'm using the bullet end of a blue mildliner to draw horizontal lines between Saturday and Sunday so I can have a visual separation between each week. Turning the page, I'm using the green mildliner to create 2 columns on the left-hand page. The first column is where I log my exercise, and the second column has 3 sections where I list my AM, evening, and late medications. The page on the right is for notes, where I can log any relevant information that doesn't have a designated space. I also draw blue lines between each week under the exercise column. Then I label each space with the pink Deco Shine gel pen. Flipping back to the previous page, I will fill out the headers for the first couple of columns. I always start with logging my sleep quality, and the time when I take my AM medications. I will fill out the rest of the headers at the start of April because I will sometimes change the things I track from month to month. And now it's time for the final flip through. Starting with the first 4 days of April underneath the mini April cover / mega header, sharing a spread with the last 3 days of March. Then I have 3 full weeks of April with space in the middle for memory keeping or journaling. The last weekly spread includes the last 5 days of April and a space for notes. The page on the right is blank for now. Eventually, the first 2 days of May will go there. Then I have my health tracker at the front of the notebook. I keep all of the health trackers for the whole year together for easy reference. That's all I have for this video. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.